I'm completely out of touch with the meta and everything going on in Yu-Gi-Oh! But there's one thing I do know, something that's been around since the beginning. If you get all the Exodia cards, you win the game. It just ends, no questions asked. So, since I got no knowledge of modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, why not take an Exodia deck into the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament of the year, the World Championship, or at least the Qualifiers, and I did exactly that. Over the past few days, I've played over 180 matches, which is a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh!, all within the preliminary qualifiers. And according to my bank account, I spent $112.41 pulling all the cards I needed for a digital Exodia and Penscythe deck, because apparently you don't need to have all 5 cards of Exodia in your hand anymore. If you have this Millennium spell, you can summon Unstoppable Exodia, which does not instantly end the game unlike its counterpart, but it does have some nice effects like being unable to be destroyed and canceling out opponent's spells and helping you draw the parts to summon the real one. And I've also made a few tweaks to the deck that I found online, because what's better than one Exodia? 2 of them, or maybe even 3. And when I started a few days ago, I had absolutely no clue what any of these cards did. But now, after 180-ish matches, I've made it to the max rank of Duel Level 20, putting me into the real tournament, the big league so to speak, where the top players of each region get shipped away to Japan to do this in real life. I don't think I'll get there, but I'm probably the only person in the world to be rookie rank within the second and final round of the World Championship qualifier, since I installed this game only a few days ago, purely to see if I could sneak my way into this with Exodia. And I've made it, so let's see what these guys got. Alright, first match in the actual qualifiers. I did not win the coin flip, so I have to go second. And I know exactly what deck this guy's playing now. We're gonna be here a while. I'm gonna set a timer. Alright, it's been nearly 5 minutes. Finally over. Let's go. Oh, one last effect? We're shutting that down, dude. You've done enough. I had to sit through 4 minutes and 30 seconds of you just doing a combo. I'm not letting this one go through. You didn't need it anyway, right? Dude, I didn't even get to play the game. He just surrendered. Oh, well, off to a good start. Hopefully next game I actually get to show off my deck. I again lose the coin flip, which puts me at an innate disadvantage. Having the opening move allows you to put down a lot of counters and stop their moves when they go to take their turn. And he opens up with a card that I'm very familiar with, setting up what I thought could be an Exodia, but he pulls out a card that's not in my deck. Another card that I use here is the Golem, allowing him to get a temple that lets him put down 2 cards in the spell zone. He then sacrifices those 2 for Closed Heaven, which is the start of the Penscythe combo, which is what my deck uses as well. So at this point, I'm like, oh man, he's using the same deck as me. And with me running those exact same cards, I know I need to counter that, because that would just keep his combo going if I let it go. So then he uses that temple that he got from earlier from the Golem to be able to put 2 monsters in his spell zone. And at this point, if it was my deck, I would have turned those 2 monsters into a Snake Eyes Doom Dragon or a Necro Princess, or even put down a Shield as one of my 2 spell monsters to get Exodia out. But he instead opts for cards that I haven't seen before and starts pivoting to a completely different deck. He does bring back the Penscythe combo only to sacrifice them for Unchained monsters, and at this point I got no clue what he's trying to set up, because it's not like anything I've had to deal with in this past week. But he eventually gives me the opportunity to get my Retaliating Sea out to potentially shut down any Graveyard combo, which he quickly destroys, and continues setting up more extra deck monsters until he eventually passes the turn over to me. And at this point, I'm in a pretty comfortable spot with my hand. I have the Millennium spell in my hand to get Exodia out when I want him, and a lot of the monsters that complement it. I open up with the shield, even though I don't need another Millennium spell, to try to bait out any counters, since I want my main important cards to be uninterrupted as possible, and he falls for it. I then play my Temple card with the same idea to see if he has anything to counter spells, since I don't want my Exodia summon to be ruined, and that goes through, so it's smooth sailing from here. I then put out my Senjin Jin, looking to get my Heart of Gaia from my deck into my hand. By using my Millennium spell, I do not have to take the damage to make that happen, and it goes through, which allows me to get my Heart of Gaia out uninterrupted, which is all I need to shut down his XYZ monsters. So when I try to summon Exodia, which I do, that activates, so then I can destroy a card I don't need to cancel that effect of his monster and destroy his monster as well. And if that sounds somewhat complicated, it somewhat is. After all, it took me over 100 matches to even fully get a grip on what each of my cards are doing in this deck, and all the optimal routes, especially with Penscythe. I bricked so many times using that, but it's nothing compared to some other combos that take whole minutes cards to even set up. This is much more straightforward, and that's what I like about Exodia. And once my Exodia safely comes out, he surrenders. And that typically seems to be the repeating pattern that I see, and to be fair, I do it a lot myself. No one wants to sit through a 10-card combo waiting for lethal. Yu-Gi-Oh matches have really long turns. But not every hand is perfect. Most games end in a turn or two, however, not always. But out of my 47 wins within this second round qualifiers, this one has got to be my favorite, purely because of how well we countered each other and how both of us had nothing we wanted in our hands. I start off with a bluff, putting down a super weak card face down, and the rest is history. Overall, I ended up being somewhere in the thousands for America, so no Japan trip for me, but I still find it crazy I somehow made it into the final round of qualifiers for the World Championship, given that I installed this game just a few days ago. And even though I didn't end as high as I'd hoped, I'd say my job's done with all the unexpected Exodias I pulled on the literal best players in the world. Plus, it was a lot of fun to relearn Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played a decent amount of Duel Links in the past, and I checked out Master Duel when it first came out, but I never really dug deeper. And I enjoyed being able to make an Exodia deck for the first time ever. Usually I just go for Revendread or something similar. And I was likely one of the only ones to do it. Out of the hundreds of matches I played in this last week for the preliminary qualifiers and the second round qualifiers and the 47 victories I had in the second round qualifiers, I never saw another Exodia player, besides that previous match that I showed, but he never even got an Exodia out, and more went for Fiendsmith and a lot of cards that I didn't include in my deck. So GG's, good luck to everyone who made it in Japan, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.